Okay, I'm going to give this thing a quick sanding here so I can lay on the second coat of glass. So, looks pretty good. There's just one little spot there I got to work on. This is 180 grit. That's coming off pretty good. I rigged up this little thing here just so I didn't want to be over the edge of the table where it cracked the... Pretty good nib right there. Okay, right here's the joint, and that's pretty good. I think by the time I get the extra layer in there, that'll even out and I can blend that. And it sure doesn't stick up like the other one did. Looks nice. Yeah, the sandpaper's about had it. Oh shoot, this is 100 grit. I don't want that is 180. There we go. Yeah, 180 cuts pretty good without being too aggressive. And I'm really not trying to get it super smooth, just anything that's rough to the touch. I'll do a good sanding on the second coat. It's actually pretty good. Now where's that? Yeah, see there's this one, I don't know what happened here. It's an extra fiber guy in there, but there's this big lump right there. Alright, so we'll hit a little aggressive on that, and that went away. And then I think I'm going to wait till the second coat to do any more. Not bad. So I'm out here in the metal shop, fab shop, and it's chilly. It's hot in the summer and cold in the winter, you know. But this is, I can make a mess out here. Okay, so that looks good. We'll go right here. Alright, I think that's good enough for the second coat. Okay, let's get some epoxy on this thing. Call it a night. So I took a damp cloth and I wiped off the dust both sides. So this thing is looking real good. I mean, it's nice and even. I think it's going to work out. So I had to go down to Home Depot and get some more brushes. You know, here's a crying shame, 77 cents a piece. Sheesh. So anyway, see, I can pop this whole thing out of this cup from last night to take out the little pieces. So I figure it's going to take, I don't know, three pumps. So 1, 2, 3 of the epoxy. 1, 2, 3 of the hardener. And then just give it a little stir. So I'm going to put the epoxy on the underside over the cardboard just to give that a moisture resistant surface, and that'll help take the primer better. And what I'm shooting for is a nice wet coat, nice and thick and as even as possible, so that the total thickness of this new layer will be above any high point here. Okay, I think this is good now. Clean off my stir stick. Okay, let's do the underside first. Just a quick little coat. Alright, this is laying out pretty good. Get a little on everywhere and then I'll smooth it out. I don't need a lot here, I don't think. Just better than paper exposed to moisture and dirt and mud, whatever. So if this works out, we'll know tomorrow night because we'll sand it out, and it looks good enough to take primer. Maybe I'll shoot some rattle can primer. I don't know. But if I get this to work, then I only have to do 7 more. Woo, baby! So, and I'll have to make a pattern for each one. So I'll get pretty good at it by the time I'm done. Then I'll go into figuring out how to effectively mount them to the rim and that whole debacle. But I think Velcro will do the trick. Okay, I think that's good enough on the inside. That's just a protective coating. Alright, so now we'll lay on a coat. Now if I don't have enough epoxy, I'll mix up another batch because I want this wet to where it would even run down the sides a little bit. No scrimping on this coat. I'll sand a lot of it off, but I got to get up high enough so that it's flat after it's sanded. I might end up doing some more sanding after the primer's on because that'll expose anything that I missed. So I'll keep working it until the primer coat really looks good, and then I'll be able to get a nice glossy finish because I like using the automotive paint. It's a little more expensive and a little more difficult to apply, but geez, it just holds up so much better over the years. I mean, you know, old number 27, you know, it's been through quite a bit and the finish still looks great, and you know, it got dirty from running around. I gave it a bath, and because it's, you know, automotive clear coat, looks like a brand new car. So, okay, well, I got it everywhere here. Get every last little bit. Okay, so then I think I'll just go around, get all the excess out, pull everything up to the top, and then just let it flow out. You know, being this slow cure, it'll, you know, flow out a little bit. Makes for a smoother finish. And I can work this for the next hour or two. I can come out here and just, you know, mess around with it some more if I want. Okay, so now tomorrow night if I don't like it, I'll give it a quick scuffing and another quick coat. It's not fast, but I can get this to where, it's really a nice surface. And when I lay the primer on, it'll look good. Okay, so the idea is, let me grab this other one here. So this was my first attempt, and you see how it's nice and glossy? Well, that's a second coat. And, there's some little nibs here, and other imperfections, but because this is thick enough, I can sand those right out. And then this is where I did this seam, and that was a total failure. That was a bust. So, but that's all right. I learned something, This cone, 100% better, and I should be able to duplicate it 7 more times. What the hell is in there? Some little piece of crap. And then I just have to sand on that. This is looking pretty good because I can get down in the light here and I can see that I've got a wet coat pretty much everywhere. I like to avoid putting a third coat because, that's, 21 more coats, 7 more to do. Alright, that's it. Alright, tomorrow we'll pop it off of here and sand it and see if it'll take some primer. But I think it's a winner. It's been an hour or so, and I thought I'd show you how you can see in the light how it's taking on a nice sheen. It's flowed out kind of over the edge here, and I think the thickness is good. Looks fairly consistent. So tomorrow we'll see how it turns out. Okay, it's Saturday morning, and I'm going to release this disc here. It's got its second coat of epoxy on it. Let's see, where's my putty knife? See if I can get under this thing. Yeah, it's looking pretty good, but I want to be careful here. There we go. I don't want to mess up the edge. It's dried hard, but it's got a flexibility to it. It's not brittle at all, so it allows me to work around it here, and I don't have to worry about splitting the edge of the fiberglass. Yeah, this is looking a lot better. Come on now. You can see how gravity, the epoxy has flowed down and over the edge. That's what I wanted it to do. It's got a couple little air bubbles in it, but those sand out real easy. Alright, look at that. Oh yeah, remember I glassed the paper. Not bad, but you could probably use another light coat of epoxy just if I want to have it, see here where it's got a little more epoxy, it'll sand and take primer better. It still kind of feels like paper. I hate to add more weight, but that's alright, I guess. Alright, so get this one out of here so you can compare the two. So this one, total bust, bad seam. And then it had a little dip right here, it's not really flat and true. But this one, the shape of the cone all the way out is nice. And here's the, here there was a really pronounced bump from bringing the joint together and glassing over, then all the extra epoxy and glass added too much thickness actually. But this one, gosh, almost imperceptible bump there. I could feather that with just a little bit of Bondo if I had to. We'll see. That might sand down if I got enough thickness on it. You know, you can't see the ridge, but you can feel it just a little bit. So I gotta trim. I'm gonna trim off the extra glass that's run over. Yeah, it's not much to trim. It's just barely run over the edge. Yeah, like I could sand it there instead of trimming it, but this is where. No, I don't have my glasses. Gotta get my glasses. Blind as a bat. Alright, now I can see better. Yeah, these slices, these bigger ones you can control them a little better. Yeah, now we're talking. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is 1,000 times better than the first attempt. I'm not actually cutting through the fiberglass, I'm just cutting off the extra epoxy that flowed off. And, you know, it's not brittle. So it's, alright. That feels good. Okay, so I'm going to stick this on the cart real quick and see how it looks. Alright, here's the test fit of the disc after its second coat. Hasn't been sanded, but it's got that nice glossy finish, ready to be sanded. And you know, it fits real nice around the rim. This is the right there's the joint in the paper where the paper cone overlapped. So there's a little tiny bump there, but not bad. And then from the back side, you can kind of see. And I taped it on there. So I'll put a little epoxy over, I think another light coat over the paper just for durability long term. But you know, I think I have a way to make discs that won't be awful heavy. 3, 5, 4 or 5. So probably about 9 ounces or so per rim. That's 4.5 ounces per side on the disc. So, you know, it's going to add a couple of pounds to the cart. So, and then I got to add the paint, so there'll be a little bit weight there. So, but I think I'm on the right track. So I'll next I'm going to sand it down and shoot some rattle can primer on it and see how it's, you know, as a guide coat to see if the surface is smooth enough for decent paint. All right.